Happy new week. Let's get after it. Little
Hey, how's
tease,
it going?
little tease of this episode. There's going to be no replays.
What's up, Jeb and Liz? You guys are cracking funnies right off the bat. I like it.
Well, I guess, is that giving me a hint that you're not a fan of instant replay, or is someone here not a fan of instant replay?
Well, look, we know instant replay is important in sports, and it's going to come up in the Super Bowl. It's going to be a part of every game that you see. It's in baseball, college football, college basketball, tennis, NHL, soccer. I'm not a fan. Jeb, how about you?
I'm on the fence. I like it when it works, and I I think they need to give more credit to the officials when they do get the call right. Like the officials should get an extra $50 a game every time his call's reviewed and it stands.
I like that. That gives them an incentive to get it right.
Yeah.
Even more of an incentive they should, besides
Trying
just
to
getting
get it right. My most important problem in my mind is the fact that because we're watching on TV and you show me a play 97 times, right? And it goes to commercial and you've shown me many times. I know what the answer is. And sometimes they rule differently because they go with what they called on the field. That's one part of it. The second part is knowing that they can show me that many times, sometimes they say the play is non-reviewable. Yet they review it. My eyes are reviewing it in real time because you're showing it to me on the TV and you're saying it's non-reviewable. Now I know that's within the rules. So what plays are non-reviewable and which are reviewable? And why? And who's coming up with these things?
Well, they
And
have
we're
a huge list of those for each sport, so we'll
Right. We
talk
don't,
about some of them later, but I mean, they have to make the call on the field in real time,
correct.
and then they can go and review it under certain rules. And to me, if they're going to get it right, fine. But like you said, why do I need 13 replays to get it right? Just show it, and the guy in Toronto, like in hockey, or New York in football, call the play, tell the guy in his headset, and move on. We shouldn't need a commercial.
That part's getting better, I think. With the live, it was a catch. It was a fumble. They are doing better than that. But the times when you look at the replay and it takes more than 2 minutes and it's inconclusive, and so what do? They go to the default, what they called on the field. So I'm already telling you, let's just go with the default call on the field in the first place. That would be my preference.
well, it would move the game along a lot faster,
It's
I
not going away
guess.
though.
But what about, do you think it takes too long? Is that that's your main issue? It's just taking too long for you, or you're saying, or no, your main issue is I saw what happened. You're just sticking with what you already said. So,
My main issue is it is related to time. If it takes more than 2 minutes is when I have a problem and they get it wrong. Or it takes more than 2 minutes and they are undecided, but they go with what they had.
right.
Especially if I just feel like there's times where there's a one particular instance everyone knows the New Orleans Saints and the Rams in 2019. The gentleman not only had a pass interference that wasn't called, but it was like a helmet to helmet targeting before the ball got there. And they didn't call anything. And then the league calls the coach and says, "Oh, we apologize, we got it wrong." But like, if they get a call wrong and the replay doesn't solve it, then what was the point of the replay? And what is the point if you're saying it was wrong? You can't fix it because we've already moved on and someone else has already got the win.
So I have 2 points. Well, 2 questions. One is, do you think if it's egregious enough, no matter what it is, they should be able to overturn that?
After the game or in real
No,
time?
in real time.
Of course.
Yes.
And do they always do that?
No. No, they do not.
Why in football, we're sticking with football here, is, in my opinion, you get 2 or 3 attempts or ability to have the replay done. Why can't I just have it whatever I want? It was the pass interference.
It's the
I want
time.
that to be recalled.
Because
I get 2.
they
If I'm
said
right,
you
I
get
get 3.
2. They said you get 2 because they don't want the game to go on forever. You challenge every single play. Now it's going to take forever.
Right.
The
No, I
entirety of the
understand that.
game.
What I'm saying is, why can't I, as a coach, say, I don't like that pass interference call. I want that to be reviewed. I
It's
should be able to
non-reviewable.
have, well, this is my point. I should be able to have anything reviewed I want. I get 2. Who cares what it is? I should be
like
able
it.
to call it 2. I get 2. I might be wrong,
I can agree with
but
that.
I get 2. I just think if you can recall anything or replay anything, then why not everything? What does it matter?
Well, they're I mean, yeah, but then they're going to get to the point where that guy is just mad that he's losing or needs a timeout and he's going to throw his challenge flag. So you
But
got to
get
have
2.
some.
You got to be. You're not going to just.
You see what she's saying, though? I only get 2. So who cares if I challenge the fact that I think I got a smidge longer and I want the ball spotted further on 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 7?
They're not going to waste
or is it
because they only get 2. So they're going to have to still be smart about it. I'm not saying they should change how many they get. I'm saying if it's a pass interference, the Colts versus Pittsburgh Steelers, the quarterback throws it into the stands and they call pass interference.
Uncatchable.
That was completely uncatchable. As a coach, I would say I'd probably want to review that. What do you think of that idea? No? As a ref?
I mean, I don't like the foul call review necessarily, unless it's egregious. Like if the league, so like if you just have a rogue official for some reason, all of a sudden is just making horrendous calls, and then you have to be like, all right, something's going on here. That's not a pass interference. Or like that ball was completely out of play in the Pittsburgh Colts game. But it's just, you can't call every single foul and every single penalty. There's got to be a little bit of leeway for that.
I believe I saw in the NBA that there was a play, it was a drive, there was a foul called. I'm like, okay, he's going to line. All of a sudden, there's a challenge. They challenged the foul. And guess what? It kind of wasn't a foul. And they overturned it. And this was only a week ago, and I had no idea this existed, and I had to turn it off.
I believe in NBA they can
turn it off.
They can review anything. Is that right?
Yeah,
I believe that's the case.
A lot more going on in the NBA.
Apparently, yeah.
Well,
those spreads are pretty tight.
Well, bringing out. Go ahead.
I was going to ask about basketball. So, like in college basketball, there's a lot of times where the referee just goes and he runs over and looks at the monitor, and it's like they called it out of bounds, and then he goes, I need to review it because I don't know. I kind of like that aspect.
Yeah. I think if you're an official, you should be able to. Yeah, I didn't see it. I need to look at it again. You should be able to do that.
Yeah,
there's an illusion. There's an illusion that it won't take much time because the monitor's right there. But if they get it right, then that's important.
Okay, so let's talk about how the NBA does it. They have their own room. They have a room, what do they call it? The replay center, where there are cameras, and they have 20 replay center workstations, which includes 17 replay operator stations and 3 replay manager stations, with 94 HD monitors, and they are monitoring all the games at once. And this is what they use when they need to do a replay, they need to rewatch the call, and that's how they get it done so quickly. So what do you think of that for the NFL?
Hockey's been doing that for years in Toronto, and it works great. By the time the ref is over to the headset at the scorer's box, they have a call for them. It's so much better.
Yeah, and I think the NFL has that in some fashion. They go back to New York and they tee it up, but it takes them a lot longer.
And in the NBA, they actually show the room sometimes. There's some kind of transparency, and I think sometimes that's what the NFL gets a little bit of flack for. They don't have as much transparency with some of their calls. Like, that Colts Pittsburgh game, they came back and said they got it wrong, but the only reason we ever knew that was Jim Irsay came out and told us he wasn't really supposed to supposedly tell us, right? They didn't come out on ESPN and tell us that. It was like a secret, and Irsay's just a cool guy.
What can they do to improve things? It's not going away, so what can they do to improve things?
Well, I kind of like that replay center. If they're doing that at, Jeb is saying it works in hockey. I don't know if they're doing it at that same level for NFL. They're doing it to some capacity, you're saying. But maybe they need more eyes quicker.
Yeah, more eyes quicker, and just buzz down to the ref so that we eliminate. So you want to make it faster. Okay, don't go to commercial. Right?
Exactly.
We know they have the call before they even go to commercial.
But is that just an excuse?
If you don't have it figured out by 2 minutes, it's what the ref called. We're moving on. You ready?
Like 2 minutes seems like an awful long time.
Sure does.
Yeah.
So the average is right around 2 minutes for the average review over the course of the history of your reviews. It's a little more than 2 minutes probably. But I saw something from like 2009 to 2017. It was right around 2 minutes in the NFL.
Wow. Wow, and that's from 2009. I was thinking that was from like 84 when they first began. I don't know if that was when they first began. But back then I could see it taking a little longer. But now I would think in 2009 even they could be a little faster.
I got one more question on this for you, Jeb. And what do you think about, I think each NBC, Fox, etc., they all have like a guest former umpire referee who comes on and they give their spiel when it's a big call. They say, what do you think? XYZ? And then they lay out their spread. What percentage of them are just backing the official's call, it seems? They never go out on a line and say, that was a terrible call. They're going to definitely rule it a fumble.
I think you know what? Because the official usually gets it right.
Yeah, well, that's a good stance.
They don't have an opportunity to go against the official. And I feel like they do sometimes go, okay, they missed this one, Wow. But they review out of bounds. Catches out of bounds happen all day long. How many times are those guys right on with a bobbling ball 2 feet in? Like, it's amazing.
I don't know how many times they're right, but that's a rule that needs to be updated again because it's still a little bit outrageous. But we'll have that for another time. Which part?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll finish with this. The part where you have to make a catch, get 2 feet in, have control, get hit by a guy, fall over the bench, land, drink your coffee, hold the ball up, then stand up, then you put it down, and it's not a catch. Yet you can dive and poke the ball across the goal line for 1/10 of a millisecond, and it's a touchdown. Possession is 0.0001 but on the out of bounds play, you've got to hold it for 17 minutes. They should change that. Okay. Calvin Johnson agrees. Don't even have to call him. What do you think? What do you think about a rule of the day?
All right. Welcome to the rule of the day. You got your rule books out?
I'm ready to learn.
Sir. I'm ready.
So we're going to talk about the replay assist works in the NFL.
See, he's right on it.
So we kind of already touched base on this. What can the league do to either speed up the game, to just get the call correct on the field? All right. So the NFL has a place in New York. Art McNally, no relation to me, heads it up. It's the Game Day Central at the league offices in New York, okay? And so basically the new assistance rule applies to plays where there's clear and obvious video evidence to proactively address specific rulings such as spots of the ball for a foul, complete or incomplete passes, and touching of the ball in a line. So it's not about penalties. It's about certain things that happen in the course of a game. If the clock is wrong, if they misspot the ball. So sometimes, they throw the ball in from the sidelines to the center of the field and they just somehow misplace it, right? Or if the ball moves. Loose ball touching at the boundary line or goal line. So we saw like the fumble recoveries at the goal line. So the league can buzz in to the official and say, hey, we need to review this. And they can basically stop play. All right. The interesting part about this, it affect the coach's challenge, right? So the league cannot buzz down after 20 seconds with less than 20 seconds left on the play clock. Okay.
And the following play?
The next play. So if the play clock starts and it's down under 20 seconds, the league can no longer buzz in.
Okay, but should they have buzzed in at 21 seconds? What if they should have buzzed in at 21 and they know they should have, but they can't at 20 or 19?
Correct.
What do they do then? Just like chalk one up for we messed up and we're too slow?
That's where the coach comes in. The coach then has to throw his challenge flag.
So a technique for the coach should be I'm waiting for that 20 seconds because they might do it.
Right. You can't just throw your challenge flag the second it happens. You need to let the league possibly protect your challenge and do it for you. Now, if it's obvious and you challenge it and you win, you keep your challenge. So that's one of the big things for coaches that they talk about in this rule is it allows the coach to just, let the league sort it out, let the officials sort it out. And then if they don't, and there's under 20 seconds, now they have 20 seconds to make their mind up on whether they should throw it or not. So it adds some pressure to that coach.
You bring up a good point, and since it's a rule of the day, it's why coaches especially need to know the rules. And the great Bill Belichick is either moving on or retiring or taking a year off, whatever we'll see. But he actually added to my dislike for some of this because I recall a play, and I don't know who it was against, but there was a guy running off the field, and he had like 1 foot on the field, and they didn't call 12 men on the defense. And Bill Belichick challenged, even though he clearly got off the field a millisecond after the snap and had no effect on the play. He challenged it, and he got it right, and he was right. So to the letter of the law, yes. But the letter of competition says, come on, Bill. I mean, I don't know. You should be allowed to challenge that.
I mean, that's gamesmanship,
That's exactly right. Hey, if you got to rely on gamesmanship to win, we'll see you again next week. That's fine.
I mean, that guy has more rings than
I know because he knows the rules.
Olympics.
He knows what he's doing.
So that's your rule of the day today. Instant replay.
Awesome. I guess we'll kick it on over to Liz for Beyond the Bench. What do you got for us, Liz?
Well, my Beyond the Bench today is not 100% or even 5% have anything to do with instant replay. But it is, we've been talking, I've been giving you some tips each week, and I've been trying to somewhat go in order of the way I would do things or the way I think your player should do things. So far we've talked about having a Twitter account, having social media set up for your particular sport. We've talked about keeping your grades up. We have talked about having a good relationship with your coach and and having good sportsmanship in general. So today I'm going to talk about an actual action you can take. Some of those things are things you need to do all along. These are things that you're not doing once in a while. You're doing them all the time. So this is something that you can do on a weekly or daily basis. So what I'm going to share with you today is something called the recruiting questionnaire. So every school has a recruiting questionnaire.
I like that emblem.
is how you get in front of coaches. So, or it's one way to let them know that you are interested in their school. So this is where some work really takes place with these recruiting questionnaires. So I got to tell you, they're all pretty much the same, but it does take a little bit of work. So if you remember last week, I told you to get out your calendar and each day for about an hour a day, do a little work reaching out to coaches. So this is something that you can do. So let's just say you want to go to Ball State, or Ball State's on your list. You know you want to go to school somewhere in the tri-state area. So you would start making a list of schools that you're interested in and reach out to all different levels, because you just don't know. You might be feeling like, I'm going to go, I don't know if I'm going to be good enough to go D1. So I'm going to reach out to some D2, D3 schools. Reach out to those D1 schools, because you're starting this when you're young and you're going to improve, and you just never know what's going to happen. So reach out to all different levels of schools. And to find these recruiting questionnaires, you simply go to their school's website. So, or you can even just search up Ball State football recruiting questionnaire.
How many of these should we be trying to do?
I'm
What do you
saying
think?
you should do as many as you can for the tri-state, 4-state area. You can't do too many, basically.
What if I want to go to Pepperdine?
You would search up Pepperdine and you would find their
Go ahead,
recruiting
do it.
questionnaire. And you can literally search this up, and each school has this for each sport. Some schools have it and they're all the exact same recruiting questionnaire, and there'll be a drop down for you to pick your sport. So here are some of the questions they ask. They're all very much the same. Your name, your address, your phone number, all this contact information, your Twitter username, your Facebook username. If you don't have a Facebook, you just leave it blank. That's fine. Some of your extra hobbies, your parents' contact information, your coach's contact information, which leads to, again, having that good relationship. Your guidance counselor's information. They're looking for that transcript. When will you graduate? If you have your transcripts, that's very helpful. Load that up. You should have your transcript handy at all times. Any test scores you've taken. And then down here, they're going to get into that NCAA ID. You will apply for that when you're a junior. It's very simple. We'll go over that another day. And then, of course, they're going to ask you things about sports. You're going to ask you any honors you have, academic honors, athletic honors, all of your 100 time, your 40 time, your power clean.
There's that power
Billy was
clean.
talking about that. Bench, your squat. You need to have all that. And any videos. If you have your huddle video, pop it in there. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to go in and fill these out for, I would say, do as many a day as you can. It takes you an hour. You could probably do about 5 in an hour. Make it a goal to fill out 5 a day for a week. Take a break. But, the coaches out there, they say it only takes one coach to believe in you. But there are many athletes doing this exact same thing. So the more schools you reach out to, the more you're going to be on their radar.
Liz, at what age should you start putting those out there?
I would say freshman year or even sophomore year. I mean, as soon as you could start as soon as you want.
Yeah.
But if you are a junior, now would be a good time to start doing it. And then
they have made it pretty easy, it looks like. I mean, you're going to have to know that information, but at least you can get a hold of somebody.
So write it down one time, keep your transcript with you, know your SAT scores, have all of that information written down. You're going to be redoing this over and over. So unfortunately, there's not just a database where you fill it out once, but you can go in and just fill this out over and over for all the schools that you're interested in. So when you go to camps in the summer, if you've filled these out, they have a little bit of information on you before you come to their camp, which is what we will be talking about on the next Beyond the Bench.
All right.
Great
Yeah,
job,
man.
Liz. That was very informative.
I want to get on there and fill one out right now. I think I got a
I'm
year's eligibility left. Let's see what happens.
about to tell Owen to start doing them right now.
I think you should try it. Like, get out there, you go be a punter or something.
Billy, let's hear about the Walk On Warriors segment. Walk On Warriors workout of the week. What you got for us this week?
All right, I got a little something different for you as well. I mean, we had a couple things that we said we'd update you on, so I got two quick updates right off the bat. Number one is we started with some D3 hoops. We mentioned there was 14 states that did not have D3 sports. I'm just going to rattle them off because I looked it up. We have to figure these things out.
Well, first, somebody said Hawaii, Alaska, and Montana. Were those three?
Let's see. Hawaii, Alaska, Montana. Check, check, check.
All right.
Mostly out west. Arizona, Idaho, Kansas, Nevada, New Mexico, North Dakota, South Dakota, Oklahoma, Utah, Wyoming. One that caught my eye a little bit further east, a lot further east, West Virginia. And those are 14. Interesting.
Wow.
And I'm not sure why, but they've got other small schools. They've got NAIA. They've got D2. There's no D3. So that's that update.
That's
and then
a drop in knowledge.
Boom. And since we're on, a referee kick, and it's Black History Month, and every day we're making history, and Black history is American history, I wanted to bring up Mr. Terry Killens, who's going to be the first person to be a Super Bowl referee and a Super Bowl player. He played for the Titans. He was number 50. So take a look out for Terry Killens. He's going to be out there reffing the game. That's going to be pretty hype for him.
Killing it.
That is really hype. I'm excited to see. We'll be cheering him on too.
Hey, and the Titans were in the Super Bowl where the guy was tackled at the inch line.
Yeah. Guess where
Rams,
I was.
Where
Didn't
were you?
see it. Didn't see it.
In Iraq?
That was January of 2000. I was in boot camp.
All right.
Didn't get to watch it. No big deal.
Oh, man.
So, hey, Liz brought up a fact about, having a good relationship with your coach. And I wanted to parlay that, so to speak, into the Walk On Warrior advice section. Is that you're going to have to be personable, okay? You can't show up and be a jerk. You can't show up and not be likable. We talked about on one of these episodes about earning respect. You got to give respect to earn respect. But I'm going to focus on something that every single person in this country or world can work on every day, and that's communicating. You've got to listen to be a good communicator. So if any of you had an instance where you spoke up too soon, then you realized later you should have just waited. I see a couple nods, maybe a hand up.
At work when I volunteered to do something when I should have waited for someone else to volunteer.
When you join the Navy in the first month, you'll definitely hear never again volunteer yourself. That's what Navy stands for. But you got to be a good communicator. But as the walk-on, as a new person into a job, or these walk-on warriors going to try out for a sport, you've got to be a good listener. Know when to step up to the mic and speak up for yourself and advocate, but also sit back in the cut and be that quiet person. You don't need to show up like you're Dion. Last time I razzed Dion a little bit, but you don't need to show up like you're the best player in the world. Okay, you need to show up like you're going to work the hardest and you're focusing on what you need to learn. I got a quick story, even though I'm rambling. I got two quick stories. I got one. Okay, here we are. We're at two-a-days. St. Joseph College. It doesn't exist anymore. Rensselaer, Indiana. The Purple Pumas.
None of your schools exist anymore.
What division?
Okay, the first semester was D2. Okay, D2. And Liz says none of my schools exist. Let's see. Pearlie and Tarkington don't exist. St. Joseph College doesn't exist, but my high school, middle school, and of course, Ball State still exists.
Let me just real quickly, we did have to fight for John Adams to stay alive.
That's true, we did.
1996.
Yeah.
They almost shut him down and we had a walkout. And if it weren't for 1996,
those 96.
your high school would be gone too.
So there we were at two-a-days, and everyone's sizing each other up. There's the people already on the team. I was a freshman. We got these other people coming in, and everyone's talking about Goldie. Goldie's coming. Goldie will be here in a couple days. Oh, he's got that corner position on lock. Goldie. I'm picturing this dude's going to come out in a limo and step out and like be the baddest dude I've ever seen. He shows up like 3 days late. So like, I don't even know how he did that or why he did it, but he wasn't anything special at all. I thought he was going to be the fastest dude. He was like, I mean, he was a corner, so he was fast, but he wasn't in the top 5. He was okay. Jeb,
Of corners?
we had Tig Fennessy on the team. Tig was definitely faster than him. So that's one angle. You can come in being all flashy and thinking you're Goldie and you're going to set some records or something and be nothing and not even contribute. And Goldie, if you're out there, man, hit me up. We'll talk. But the listening side of this, I got a story that maybe Jebba remembers back in the old Adams locker room when he was sporting 64 and I had that deuce on. I can't remember what year it was. I think it was 93. We had a guy named Big Frank. Don't remember Big Frank's last name.
Franklin.
Frank Franklin. See, I'm sorry, Frank.
You forget
Franklin.
that.
You get this guy out of Central Casting, Frank Franklin, and the coach needs to put some information out, and we got high school kids goofing around. And what does Big Frank, a quiet man, quiet kid, stand up and say? And, if I would just straight out curse right on this show, but I'm not going to, he said, "Be the F quiet." Everybody was like, yeah, he's right. And everyone said, whoop, signed that old BTFQ. And everybody shut down because this man would listen and he would know what was going on. And when he spoke, it was time to listen up to him. But then the coach put out his words and he offered that floor to the coach. I'm sure that helped out with his relationship with the coach, getting a little more PT. But
Big Frank.
That's the lesson of the day. Don't be a Goldie. Be more like Big Frank. Show up on time, listen, and speak up when you need to, especially if you got some injury that's nagging. But I'm not going to get into that right now because I had too many of those.
Just to add to that, so we're starting a little charity, Vets to Refs, and we're going to help get veterans started on their path to officiating youth and high school sports. So if you're a veteran out there and you'd like to dip your waters in the officiating ranks, hit us up, settledonthefield@gmail.com, and we'll help get you started. But as a new official, one of the best things you can do is just listen to the veterans. When you go to the game, you're going to meet a new guy that you'd never met before. Be polite, introduce yourself, but then let that guy talk, right? If
Best
you got
way
a
to
question,
learn.
Yep. If you got a question, ask it. But if you let that man talk, these officials get yelled at quite a bit. So they have a lot of information in their heads that they like to offer to people that are on their side. So if you're a new official, just open your ears and let these older gentlemen or even young guys that have been reffing for a long time give you information. So it's a great way to just learn.
All right, yeah, that's Vets to Refs. We're doing some behind the scenes paperwork right now. It's going to be live and coming at you real soon. Liz, do you have anything else you'd like to share with us?
I am very impressed by the Goldie and Frank story. You brought it together very nicely.
I didn't know if it would, but it did,
And Frank Franklin, I mean, I don't know how you forgot that name.
I mean, that's why I didn't remember it, because it's Frank Franklin. Frank. All I called the man was Big Frank.
Frankie Franklin. I love the lesson there to use your ears. So now use your ears and see if you know the answer to this trivia question. All right?
All right, fair.
We've been talking NFL instant replay all across the board, different sports. When was the very first NFL instant replay? What year? What teams? And does anybody know what happened in the play?
Well, earlier I said 1984, so that's my guess for the year. That's just because that's what came out of my mouth. I have no idea. It was NFL. Bill, do you have a guess of who it was?
Picture it, 1986. The Bears are coming off of a Super Bowl win. They're playing the Cleveland Browns, And there it is. It's a snap, a fumble. It's bobbling, and it goes into recovery. Cleveland is up 7-0. Or are they? Was he in bounds, or did he have the ball? Is that it?
Is right. It was week 1, and of course it's the Bears and the Browns. What other two teams need instant replay more? Right?
Here we go. Coming at you.
This play is incredible.
Walter Payton, number
In the
34.
Cleveland touchdown, and an historic first use of instant replay to aid officials. Brown safety Al Gross was ruled in bounds with a recovery, and Cleveland had a fast 7-0 lead.
Wow. Okay, I'm going with that was not in bounds. Am I right?
You're correct.
He wasn't out of bounds. He didn't have possession, but hey, that was a great play. And if you witnessed, Walter Payton went to block the guy so McMahon could recover the ball, and I don't know where he went. He left the screen.
So that was the first ever instant replay. They really called it in bounds, though? At first?
On the field. On the field,
they called it in bounds.
He had a toe in. It was close.
Okay.
So was that considered a touchback?
Ooh.
Because the defense propelled the ball out of the back of the end zone?
I would say probably not back then. I think that's a new rule.
Be considered a safety. Because the Bears had possession.
Man, I'm going to say they ruled it a safety. If today's game, that's a touchback.
That might have been a touchback nowadays, but back then, I believe they called that a safety.
Nice. That was awesome.
So that's
video.
our trivia question of the day, brought to you by Walter Payton, the greatest running back ever. Even
Man of the year.
When you count every other amazing running back, he was just awesome. Hey, so we're getting back to 170 days now till the Paris Olympics open up.
170, are you sure?
Guessing, man.
It's got to be pretty close. We'll get closer as we get.
We need a countdown ticker on the website.
Well, so there is one. Yes, there you go. We'll have to add it to our website. There is one on the Paris website, and it is 170 days. But we've been talking about the new sports, and we did talk about sport climbing, but we didn't actually talk about sports climbing. We just mentioned that it was a new sport. So does anybody know anything about climbing rock? Has anybody ever climbed a mountain?
Well, I have not done that. So this is climbing. I thought that. So this is not the fast climbing. This is climbing rock?
There is fast climbing involved. There's 3 disciplines we're going to talk about.
Well, let me hit you up real quick. I did do it one time with our buddy out in Colorado, 2008.
You two did it together?
I was awful.
It was awful.
Very taxing on the body.
My wife made it to the top. I definitely
especially
didn't.
at altitude.
Dude, just getting to where you go to climb for
you can't even walk there, let alone use all muscles in your body to climb straight vertical.
Right. You do so much effort just to get to the point. Oh, now we're going to climb this mountain. Like, what did we just do for the hour and a half to get to this point?
And then they're going to do it fast. I feel like,
Yes.
I'll tell you many times, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So maybe that's what they're going to do.
No, all speed.
I do know that Indianapolis has a phenom sports climber named Piper Kelly.
Ooh.
And she is headed to the Paris Olympics. So
yeah, Piper.
Really?
We're going to be on the lookout for Piper. We're going to be shooting for Piper to get the gold.
Get Piper on the cast and
Let's go,
give
Piper.
us some knowledge.
Well, shout out.
So there's 3 formats of climbing: boulder, speed, and lead.
Okay.
Right?
I didn't realize. Okay.
So boulder, athletes climb a 4.5 meter high wall without ropes. A limited period of time and in the fewest attempts possible. So 4.5 meters, how tall is that? That's like 15 feet?
We'll call it 15 feet. You're talking about a wall as in it's got the fittings or you're talking about on the
Yes.
side of a mountain?
I think it has the
this
fittings.
is all going to be man-made.
Okay.
Man-made. Yep. So that's bouldering. All right. Speed is a spectacular race against the clock in a one-on-one elimination rounds that combine precision and explosivity. The best athletes scale a 15-meter high and 5-degree incline wall in under 6 seconds for the men and 7 seconds for the women.
Wow.
That's
so
crazy.
15 meters, that's what, like 35 feet?
45.
So that's like
Roughly
literally
40
like
feet.
Spider-Man.
Yep.
Yeah. 45 feet in 6 seconds.
And that's one-on-one, so they go at the same time, and it's an elimination. Then the third one, and so they're going to give out 2 different combinations of medals. One combination is the boulder. Oh, excuse me. So the speed event is what we're going to talk about next. No, we just talked about the speed. Sorry. So speed medals all by itself. That's a one-on-one competition. So it's kind of like sprinting, right? So that's a medal all in itself. Then bouldering, lead will be combined. So your best scores out of these events. Lead, athletes climb as high as they can on a wall over 15 meters high in 6 minutes without having seen the route ahead of time. The routes for this event are more and more complex and challenging during the event. So in the speed, they know the route.
Okay.
But in the lead event, they don't know the route, and it's very, very challenging.
And
so
how
it's
long does
whoever
that
can get
take? Generally, does it say?
6 minutes is the time you get.
Oh, okay.
But that seems like that's going to have to be like mountain face, right?
Yeah. And then they
I would
change,
think.
it becomes more and more complex during the event. So it takes all their physical and mental abilities.
Man.
So then you combine your scores in boulder and lead for another medal. So you're going to get 2 different medalists.
Will the U.S. have any other than Piper Kelly who's going to get a gold?
Piper Kelly.
I can't wait for this. This sounds exciting, actually. It's like the 100 meter and the lead. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see these new events because we don't know how. The thing we really don't know is how they're judged, and I mean, Jeb is teaching us, but it will be good to witness it and see, like, surfing.
Yeah.
If you fall off, are you out? You get to start over? Like, these little things that you just don't know until you know.
Catch another wave. Just like you're going to have to catch another episode of Settled on the Field, because that's a wrap for number 5.
Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. And don't forget to go to our website, settledonthefield.com.
All right, guys. We'll see you soon.
See you
later.
Watching this episode of Settled on the Field. To learn more, visit our website at settledonthefield.com. Please follow Settled on the Field at Instagram, X, Facebook, and make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube.